Good morning, folks. I'm sitting here on my flight. I've been traveling around the world for the last couple of years, selling other people's products and services online, making more money than I used to make in my corporate 9 to 5, and doing so on my terms, on my schedule from anywhere in the world. I have complete geographical and near complete time freedom. And I want to talk to you today about a moment that is very key in anyone's progression into this world. My lighting has just gone dark. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it'll come back shortly. But that moment is the time when you make your first sale, potentially the light adding some drama to the point I just made. But this is very, very key. And I'll tell you why it's key. It's key because the moment that you realize you can go out into the world and affect decisions other people make, help people and help their decision-making process and gain money from that, changes everything. You've just, at that point, leveled up your sales and business acumen. All business is sales, all sales is business, by the way. You've just leveled that up massively. And in doing so, you now step into a world where you can have much more control over how much income you make. So let me explain to you my first sale. My first sale was in a corporate role working for a tech startup in London. And these guys were very savvy about business, right? They made it very clear that everything we did in the first few weeks of that role was going to be about getting me trained up on sales and getting me to make that first sale. They were perfectly happy to lower pricing, do whatever it was going to take to make that close happen. By the way, lowering pricing is not the best way to get a deal closed, but there's a nuance to that. Side matter. So in this role, it was 360 sales. I had to go out and hunt for my own prospects. I had to turn them into sales calls, and then I had to take those sales calls and eventually close the deal. So when this finally came to fruition for the first time, that was momentous. And we've got the light back. That is so good. So when this sale finally came around, I went out, I found this guy online. I found him on LinkedIn. Got his email address, hit him up on LinkedIn, hit him in the email inbox. Eventually, I managed to find a number and I just rang the guy, cold call. We got chatting. It learned a little bit about his problems, just like we taught to do, just like his best practice, and explained to him how we could fill those problems with what we provided, with the services that we provided. Now, obviously, first sale, right? This took me way longer than it should have done. I was yapping to this guy for hours and completely unnecessary, really. But the sale happened and suddenly everything changes. Suddenly the world is a little bit brighter for me, and it could be a little bit brighter for you too at the point at which that happens. And the main reason for this is suddenly, as I've said, you have realized self-actualization in the sense that you now know for a fact, because you've seen it in front of your eyes, that you can go into the world and you can help the process of money changing hands, which is the core, one singular fundamental business skill that applies to any niche of business whatsoever. That is an absolute fact. And making that first sale is where it all starts. And I was actually going into this role not looking to get into sales. I had a massive hang up in my mind about what a sales guy was, and I didn't want to be that. And what this experience also did for me was it totally flipped my perspective on that, right? I thought it was all about being persuasive and perhaps a little bit subversive, trying to convince people to part with money for things that they didn't really want. Not the case. I learned through that process, through that first sale, that it was all about helping people. And if you do this right, someone actually wants to pay you for a service, they will end up being much happier and much more fulfilled in whatever goal they're trying to achieve by buying that service. So this is my recommendation to you. Get in a position as soon as possible if you want to change your life where you are set up to make that first sale, whatever it may be. Thank you so much for watching. Plenty more to come. Hope you found that helpful.